Hello, my name is Saberwing, and you're listening to a Bamsters Rated R podcast.
And we're back, like Bamm usually says. We're back, and everything's awesome sauce.
Beer and bacon, bro.
Yeah, we have what is probably an awesome episode today. Lots of good news, I think.
Yes, lots of good news, But before we start off with the news and stuff like that, let me just go through the usual rigmarole of telling everyone there's two versions of this actual podcast. There's a YouTube version for all you YouTubophiles. There's also an RSS feed for those folks who actually want to download it, listen to it in their cars and whatever have you. Just click on the links in the descriptions and you will be sent away magically with the internet pixies to go and grab your favorite type of electronic entertainment. And that was a mouthful. Anyway, one more topic is, a lot of people have been asking, why aren't we covering, like, the big topics? You know, the sort of, the Fine Brothers, the Boston Dynamics, you know, the Twitters and the feminism and whatever have you. And to be brutally honest, the reasons why we don't cover those topics is because they are done half to bloody death. There's no bloody point. Everyone's voiced their opinions about Twitter censoring, on Hillary Clinton, on the feminisms now running the Twitters, on Boston Dynamics, awesome source robot. Dude, that thing is legendary. It's awesome. About bloody time as well. In my lifetime, there's a robot. That's brilliant. And the Fine Brothers, you know. The Fine Brothers topic has been done to death. They try to trademark the word react perfectly legally in business mind, but then when you consider YouTube's broken DMCA, it can be used to devastating effects to silence and copyright strike every other person out there. So yes, basically those topics have been done to death, and we deliberately look for other topics that are quite far left and right field that we can go ahead and gather for you guys to listen to your beautiful ear holes. So yes, G, first topic to you.
Well, you're right. Let's not take all the topics that everybody else have really beaten to death. Sorry, guys, but it is. Instead, I actually dug out some movie news that I think people might like. I don't know how many people are into Star Trek. I am. I am what you would call a Trekkie, not a Trekker. People know the difference. And the latest news is the next movie actually has some proper talent. It might actually be a real Star Trek movie. Nicholas Meyer has joined the next one. They haven't given it a title yet, as far as I can tell. But for those who don't know, Nicholas Meyer has actually been directing the previous Star Trek movies, the old ones. Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, which I think most people consider one of the best ones. Star Trek IV, The Undiscovered Discovery, and he's also written some of Undiscovered Discovery and The Voyage Home. And yeah, okay, The Voyage Home wasn't really one of my favorites. It was a decent one anyway.
I watched all the Star Treks, I've watched all the Star Wars. I like both. Shoot me, I know a lot of people are divided between the two. I like both. I'm quite a sci-fi freak. You know, I love Firefly, I love Babylon 5. I know a lot of people don't like Babylon 5. I like the new version of Battlestar Galactica. I thought the old one was kind of old and fuddy-duddy. You know, that's just me. I like them all. So yes, happy days.
I'm happy because it sounds like for the first time in a decade and a half, you might actually have something resembling a Star Trek movie. Hey, I find that awesome.
Well, we've had some new reboots of Star Trek, and I keep telling you those are good films,
mate.
bro.
No. Let's not go there.
If anybody on this planet wants to annoy G-Talk, alright, you have to point out that the two latest Star Trek film from J.J. Binks or Abrams or whatever you want to call them nowadays, those two are great films. Just tell them that, wind them up for the rest of the week. It's brilliant.
They're horrible. Can we go over to the next movie? Can we just
Yes.
Well, I have some rated R news for you, actually. Batman
Rated
vs
R?
Superman. Yes, Batman vs Superman. You might have heard of it. We discussed it at one point.
Correct.
The director's cut version might actually come out as a rated R version.
So you're telling me that somehow we managed to wing our way into a Batman film?
I don't think it's that. I just think they watched the recent one, Deadpool, and realized rated R actually works. So I'm assuming what they're basically doing is Batman will bleed a lot and Superman will be all the time.
Deadpool was a great film. I loved it. Great film, Deadpool. I actually want to see more films like that because it hit the right tones. It wasn't too gory and it wasn't too, you know, pink and fluffy, which is great.
Oh, then I have just a thing for you. The next Dungeons and Dragons movie they say will be...
Stop. I know. It's going to be a flower power, hippie, hug a tree fest. I know, I've already seen the news. God, yeah.
Oh, they say it will be a fun romp in Hobbitland, and it will be a Guardians of the Galaxy tone.
Dungeons and Dragons is not a fun romp. It's a deadly game of cat and mouse between you and the dungeon master.
I'm with you. When I read there's a fun romp and it'll be like in the Hobbit movies and it'll be Guardians of the Galaxy tone. It's like, yeah, I'm guessing what they're saying is they're hiring a few comedians to be the comic relief characters and, Wayne's brother version 2 or something.
Now, look, I like the Wayans brothers as actors. Sort of. They got to strike a certain note with me. But I don't see how this is going to be a good film. I'm already disappointed. But I will wait and see.
Yeah, I've actually managed to lower my expectations from practically non-existent to even less existing.
Oh, yes, I totally agree. I had no expectations from this. And whatever expectation I did have, unknowingly, is now being shattered by the words fun romp. That just shattered. Now it's like, right, well, I'd go and see what... Yeah, I completely agree, G.
Yeah. The only good thing I actually saw was the scriptwriter says he's expecting a multi-universe franchise, and that the first one they're doing is Forgotten Realms, which means they might do Dragonlance, perhaps, which I actually think is a much better setting, simply because the stories are frankly better in there.
So basically, what you're telling me, they're going to rip off Frodo Baggins and Guardians of the Galaxy. Great.
And I think they said Raiders of the Lost Ark as well.
I don't know what to say to that. My expectations are so low with this film. I just don't know what to say to that.
Fair enough. Let's move on. I think you had some gaming news.
I did? Oh, yeah. I did. Yes, basically, now people who don't know what EVE Online is and don't know who the company CCP is, basically, there's a reporter out there called the Matani, and he does all the reports on this particular company and the video game. EVE Online's a massive MMORPG, basically pretend internet spaceships that cost around $4,000, and you go out and you blow that shit out of it. So basically what's happened is he's reported... What?
Do we call the Mitani a reporter now? Are we being that nice?
Yes, I'm being that nice.
Okay.
Anyway, so the Matani goes ahead and reports on the company and the video game and events that happen in the video game and whatever happened to the company. He's gone ahead and reported that a few key figures from the company are being let go. God knows what reasons they are, but the one name I do recognize is CCP Fox 4, and the only reason why I know this gentleman is because he worked on Dust 514, and because he worked on Dust 514, he holds a special place in my heart. Foxy, Soxy, dude, I do hope the future is bright for you and your future endeavors, dude. Sorry to hear you go. Or going, rather. The other two are Scapria, which I believe is some sort of element, and then Iberium, Iberium or something. I can't pronounce that nonsense. Some fancy name for an element. So yes, that's basically news with CCP, as far as I am aware.
Yeah, I remember Fox 4. We worked together a little bit. Definitely the best community lead that they've had for Dust 514. One thing that caught my eyes just the other day was Vivendi is actually trying to buy out Ubisoft, at least according to some bank reports.
Oh, sorry, I was going to jump on that.
Oh, go
sorry.
ahead.
As far as I can work out in regard to that, G, it's a hostile takeover type bid, whatever have you. Some dude owns 15% shares somewhere along the lines of the companies. He's trying to use another 15 million euros or dollars or pounds to actually buy it out through some other backer or whatever have you. So Ubisoft are trying to halt this or something. There's a bit more to it than that, and I'm pretty sure you've got the full details, G. Please explain this conundrum to me.
Oh, dude, I can't explain hostile bids and hostile takeovers in the time we have. 45 seconds for each news item, not doable. But, yeah, they are trying to take over Gameloft, which is part of what the Guillemot brothers, the guys behind Ubisoft, owns or have started. So they're trying to buy that for 500 million, and then seemingly they will want to try and get the rest of Ubisoft. And the Guillemot brothers are more or less in a monetary fight for their independence.
There's also a bit of worrying news as well. I believe the guy who's trying to buy out Ubisoft, or the brothers from Ubisoft, is that he's thinking of shit-canning 3,000 jobs and relocating the main base to somewhere in America. That is very... No, not cool, bro.
I don't know if he would actually can that many jobs, but I think the big one is really that if Vivendi buys Ubisoft, then Ubisoft will be subject to Vivendi's business methods, and they'll be less free to basically do business with whatever they want, or whoever they want. So for Ubisoft, it's just a matter of freedom. But yeah, there will probably be a few jobs on the line. There's always the case with these big mergers and big takeovers.
Yeah, that's always a sad thing. Whenever it comes to something like this, someone's always going to lose their job, and it's not nice to hear. Sadly, it's not very nice to hear.
Dude, let's find a little bit more positive thing to end on. Something that's really gonna irritate some of the PC master races out there.
Yay! We're gonna irritate the PC masturbators! Yay!
Did you see the news that went around where Sony basically went out and said, when it comes to VR at least, the PS4 is 60% more powerful than an equally spec'd PC?
Yeah, somehow I think that's a little bit of a lie. A little bit of a big lie. I don't see how that's true.
No, it's basically they're saying, well, it's closer to the metal, there's less overhead, and there's actually fewer pixels per second to be rendered. Something like the PS4 only has to do, what was 100 million pixels per second, and on Rift you have to do 400 and something million. And there's a lot of things going into it, but even developers have come out and said, yeah, they're actually getting more out of the hardware on the PS4 than on PC.
Didn't I also hear they're actually developing a VR glove or something?
Yeah, some kind of thing that you're supposed to put on your hands, and they will track what your hand is moving. Oh, wait. Yeah, something you put on your hand or on your wrist that tracks how your hand is moving, the positions you place it in, and how you hold it, and it will then represent that in the game.
Well. So now I'm hearing news that the PS4 and the VR headset is the most powerful bit of VR kit out there, and they're bringing out a glove. This is great news. Somehow I think a little bit of it's fabricated, just a little bit. But it's nice to annoy the PC masturbators. It's brilliant.
Oh yeah, I think it's a case of 60% more powerful is a little bit optimistic, and let's say it sounds like it'll be able to compete, but it is less spec'd than a full GTX 980 or dual card thing that PC users have. But it will be at least the cheapest option, and if it can compete, if it's good enough, hey, I'm happy.
Well, you see, the way I'm looking at it, G, is that PlayStation going to bring VR to the masses, and if it's cheap, it's affordable, and it's good fun, people are going to buy it. And buying a PS4 and a VR headset is going to cost about 800 quid. That's the price of one HTC Vive. All the snobs out there that scoff down at console users are going to be out of pocket. The more I think about it, the more I laugh.
Fair enough. I'm with you, mate. And on a last note, Bamm, there is the Overload Kickstarter going on from the developers of the original Descent games that I recommend everybody go and look at. Well, that was kind of the news that we are listed for this week. Coming up, Bamm, you said you and Jolly are talking about some of The Division. And later on, we will have a friend of the show, Saberwing, or what was the name you gave him?
Chickenwing!
Hi, I am Saberwing, and Bamm. It's important to note that Bamm got kicked out of a camp as a camp counselor for doing very bad things to a tree.
Hey, what's up, everybody? And now that we're done with the news, it looks like we're on to talking about the Division open beta that just wrapped up a week or so ago. And it looks like Bamm has actually stuck around with myself, Jolly Roger. Hey, what's going on, Bamm?
How's it going, Jolly? How's it going? Yes, I finally decided to join you for a chat on The Division. Yay!
Yeah, we played enough of it, and now you're actually going to talk about it a little bit.
For once, I can talk about it. Yes.
So, it did wrap up, and I saw you playing it. Played with you a little bit. Did you enjoy the open beta?
Yes, I did. I actually did enjoy the open beta. A very well-polished, very clean, very well-designed video game for a beta.
Yeah, I was having some fun. It looks really put together. Like, there wasn't a ton of stuff in it, though. Like, did you notice that? Like, there could have been some more stuff in there.
Oh yeah, there could have been a lot more stuff in there. But as as I pointed out, this is more of an advertisement. Let people have a little taste of the game, but seriously cordon off the rest of the game, as in everything else, just so you get enough of an experience to see what the game's about, and then spend your hard-earned cash actually buying the full game upon release. And it comes out on the 8th of March, I believe.
I believe you're correct. And yes, that's exactly what it was. It was more of a teaser than a beta. Like, it was like a little teaser advertisement. And I'm honestly admitting they teased me a little bit. Like, I'm gonna buy it.
Oh yes, I'm definitely gonna buy this as well, and I'm not gonna buy the half-assed version. I'm gonna go for the full-on, massive, big, hairy, testicle gold version. So yes, that's what I'm getting, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely bought the whole game myself with the season passes included because I've read that they're saying there's no microtransactions involved in the game, but then they go on to say that vanity items and stuff like that can be purchased and it's called DLC nowadays apparently.
Yeah, the vanity items, I can understand that as a microtransaction. You know, if you, yeah, it's a bit of a tricky subject because, you know, the company always wants to make more money, more money, more money, you know, more money, more money. So it's a very tricky one. For me, it's a case of, do I go to a video game store and spend £90? Do I spend £80 on the PSN, or do I go to Amazon and spend £60 and get the game? So that's the decision I have to make right now. The microtransactions, I'm probably never going to buy a vanity item because as long as I got my scarf and my bubble hat, I am king of the dark zone, dude.
Yeah, you're gonna have a little crappy scarf. I bought the season pass, so I'm gonna have the awesome scarf.
No, dude, I've got the gold edition, bro. Season pass included.
Oh, well, fair enough. I guess we'll both have. We'll be matching. We'll be
skipping down the road.
We'll be twinsies. Yeah, man, we'll be skipping down the road and we'll run into those freaking NPC dudes with the freaking, like, bulletproof hoodies. We'll run into those dudes.
Yeah, those hoodies have got some serious Kevlar weave in there, dude. They're very difficult to take down this time around. Although, a few choice headshots with the correct rifle and the right timing does put them down hard. The bit that annoyed me was these guys chased you around half the map, eh? They just did not let you go. And you couldn't go into the safe zone, or you couldn't go anywhere without being, you know, murdered viciously. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it, dude. Really, I enjoyed the beta. It was a good game.
Yeah, I really liked it. Like, I wasn't really a fan of the Tiger Woods wannabe dude running at me with a freaking golf club, smacking me on top of the head, like chasing me forever.
Yeah, you got smacked over the head a few times with a golf club. I got the freaking bat. As if I remember correctly, a certain Canadian threatened me with the bats. Every time a bat came to me, I was thinking, oh no, it's Bruce! Shoot him! Shoot him now!
Yeah, talking about players, actually, like, it was kind of fun in the DC. Did you enjoy that part of it?
Yes, I enjoyed hunting down rogues. You can definitely hunt down these guys quickly and earn yourself big bucks. The mistake I was making is that I was shooting these guys until they died, instead of running up to them and kicking them in the nuts before that, you know, so I could get their cash. I was making that mistake. But you put me on the right path for that, Jolly. So ever since then, I've been making the money.
Yeah, like, since they added those 2 new guns in the safe room that you can buy, the 2 new exotics, the gold ones, like, it was very beneficial to melee the crap out of people when they're on the ground and make sure you got the money.
Yeah, I enjoyed that ACR, that purple ACR. I think it was an ACR, but I didn't enjoy that LMG. That LMG just sucked balls, dude. Hated it.
You're allowed to be wrong, and this is one of the instances you're wrong, because that LMG was freaking amazing.
Nah, dude, it didn't deal enough damage for me. I had a purple ACR that dealt more. But, you know, hey, each to their own. I was running with 2 assault rifles and a massive pew-pew magnum pistol that would just deal some serious close-quarter damage. Brilliant. Great game, great game.
Yeah, I did notice that they added something in the open beta that was not there in the closed beta. There was actually an added mission where you unlocked a turret. And all those idiots brought those turrets into the DZ and were easily made rogues.
That's where Bamm capitalized. Full pirate, dude. Full pirate.
Yeah, we definitely took out our share of the rogues. And we got killed a couple times as rogues, which was kind of a letdown. I lost my monies.
You lost your monies. Now that annoyed me. You know, you'd walk out into the dark zone, and there'd be a bunch of dudes just standing there, and they'd blow your brains out, and then you'd die, and then lose all your monies. It's like, hang on a minute, what? But, you know, that's the name of the game. Gang King, you know, one of those things. It's very player versus player orientated. It's very cool, very cool. But for me, Jolly, the funnest part of the entire DZ, the Dark Zone, especially when you're in those particular levels, because you're slotted and allotted, you know, to levels and whatever have you, was going after the manhunt guys. That was a lot of fun, where they barricade them in a particular area and funnel you towards them. It was very, very cool. Really enjoyed those things because it was quite strategic. You shot someone in front of you, they didn't pay attention, you'd go rogue, you'd die, you have to jump back in. It was a lot of fun. I love those manhunt challenges. And the last sort of few hours of the actual game, you and I went roguey manhunt, kill them all sort of thing. It was good. It was good.
Yeah, the manhunts were pretty freaking awesome. It's like a player event somewhat. Like, you're all just playing, killing the NPCs, getting your gear, stuff like that, and all of a sudden the manhunt skull pops up in the top corner, and it's like, where's this dude at? Let's go find him. Let's take his money.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Going into the dark zone against other players, I think, made the game. The story of this game, though, however, looks to be very intriguing. A lot of people have been calling it the Destiny killer. So it'll be interesting to see if Ubisoft can actually manage this, because it's very Destiny-ish, but at the same breath, it's not really. It's got a completely different, movement, weapon handling, storyline. It's a very different game. So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens. I'll be waiting with bated breath.
Yeah, I enjoyed Destiny, and I kind of think they killed themselves, myself, personally. But that's just a personal opinion. Like, it is very similar to Destiny. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's similar on it. But the whole mixing of the PvP, PvE part of it is what I'm really enjoying. Like, I could see that adding a good bit.
I just can't wait to get out of that little corral that we've been kept in, because I know every inch of that dark zone. I can't wait for the entire dark zone to open up and I can go exploring and getting better weapons and finding better loot and doing some seriously awesome shit. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to add like a massive amount of NPCs to shoot at in the DZ personally.
Was there a thing about them doing some sort of raid? Like they trying to go after the sort of... This is why a lot of people think it's sort of Destiny-ish. They're going after some sort of raid or some shit? How are you going to pull that one off? But it'll be interesting to see how they do it, though.
Yeah, speaking back on the deal, the paid deal, the season pass and stuff like that. They've announced, I think it is 3 paid DLCs, and there's supposedly 1 free DLC that everybody can get, and that free DLC is supposed to add some sort of raid type mechanic, like some kind of in-game stuff.
That's going to be cool. And this is why I'm probably going to buy the game off Amazon and actually go ahead and see if they can actually deliver, because I'm getting very tired of these video game companies promising all these awesome things and not delivering. I believed Battlefield 4 let me down. DICE and EA dropped the ball there. I believed in Destiny, Bungie and Activision destroyed it. So now I'm actually buying video games with a bit of hesitation, taking what companies say with a huge grain of salt. So yes, hopefully these guys can actually deliver.
Yeah, man, I was hesitant at first. Like, I was hoping they would add more to the closed beta, and it seems like they did in the open beta. And I'm actually really looking forward to the game.
So am I, dude. So am I. And on that note, guys, on to the interview. Sweet.
Hey, my name is Saberwing, or Eskai Music as a shameless plug. You can find me on SoundCloud, on Eskai Music, or Twitter on Eskai Music, and I'm being held against my will to do a podcast for Bamm.
Okay, guys, welcome back. Today, tonight, this afternoon, we have here for you the man, the awesome Chickenwing!
Jesus Christ, that name still follows me to this day. I don't know how many years it's been now. Thanks to you, mate. People still call me that now on World of Tanks now as well, so just for that.
I'm glad to be of assistance. Also joining me today, guys, is the one and only Yo Jolly Roger. Jolly, say hi.
Hey, what's going on? All right, so Saberwing, what's been going on, man? It's been a crazy long time. Like, how are you enjoying World of Tanks?
Yeah, man, it's been a very long time. It's funny, this is my 3rd time now on this podcast, or I guess this podcast, it's lived on in various different forms over the years, right? And I'm always glad to be back. Like, I just did another Dust-related-ish podcast a few weeks ago with the Biomass guys, and I'm always happy to jump in and speak to you guys. So everything's going really good, man. It's a Friday afternoon here in San Francisco, and just trying to wrap up get out of here for the weekend. So yeah, glad to be here. Thanks so much for having me back, guys.
I can hear the sarcasm in that. It's Friday.
Yeah.
Why are you guys bothering me?
These bastards won't leave me alone. No, it's cool, man. Don't worry about it. Everything's cool. It's all good.
So go on then, Sebwing. Do tell us. You are a gaming community manager of World of Tanks. What does that entail?
Man, it entails all sorts of crazy stuff. The role actually just kind of changed very, very recently. I'm still a senior community manager by title, but my actual responsibilities have shifted a little bit. So that's kind of cool in some ways because I get to focus more on some of the stuff that I'm a little bit more by, I think. So, I mean, what a gaming community manager is very different from company to company. What I did at Dust is, a bit different than what I did at Bethesda, and then what I did at both those jobs is a little different than what I do here now. And really, I guess a community manager's job at a high level is just to be that interface between players and company making the game, right? That's kind of what the job is, but the actual form that takes is very different in the game, depending on the company, their relationship with all that stuff. So as of a couple of weeks ago or so, my role has shifted a little bit, like I said, and so now what I'm doing is I'm focusing more on some of the bigger strategic stuff, maybe for the community for World of Tanks. In particular for World of Tanks, I work on the console version of the game, so I work on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and so my role is going to involve a little bit less forum work, not as much forum moderation and engagement there, but more like social media stuff, tournaments, the esports side of things, as I said, engaging with our streamers, developing our streamers and their profiles, giving them exposure, a program to support them, that sort of stuff. So it's kind of shifted a little bit, and I kind of enjoy the stuff that I'm doing now. It's kind of where my heart lies right now, so I'm kind of excited by that. And I think World of Tanks has a very bright future on console. We just kind of got started, and we only just launched on PS4 last month. So the future's kind of bright and it's fresh and new, and I think we're building on the foundations of a really strong game. So hopefully all the tournament stuff is going to be pretty exciting, and we can really actually make some real console esports happen. So I'm pretty excited about that stuff.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool. Now, you mentioned esports, so you're the guy that organizes the esports for the console community or the PC community, or both?
Right now, it's mainly the console community. We actually have a whole esports team in all of our various offices that deal with the PC version of the game. World of Tanks is, I think, by all measures, one of the more well-known esport games out there, right? Competitive play is a thing that the PC guys have kind of embraced for a number of years now. And so we have an esports team here in North America, and they deal with all the tournament stuff. And actually, saying that, recording this, they're setting up in Las Vegas. They've got their first, their season 2 finals, are happening in Vegas tomorrow, I believe. So pretty cool. They're down there. Sadly, I'm not there. I'm stuck in the office. But yeah, they're doing that stuff for PC right now. And I work pretty closely with those guys. So actually, over the last week or so, we've been hammering out some of the rules for our next console tournament, which is going to happen. And that tournament is, a lot of the rules are being proofread by the PC guys because they've kind of been there and done that for a number of years now. I'm relying on their experience, so they're weighing in pretty heavily on the rules and stuff that we're using for console. That being said, the games are different in some ways. We have limitations they don't have because they're on PC, and they have a lot more customization right now. The game's been out for a lot longer. So we're kind of having to work around that a little bit. But, just as of last month or the month before that, I think we just had a spectator mode put in, which is huge. That makes a big, big difference for people watching tournaments on console, because now it's actually kind of enjoyable to watch. Before, I would have to load in on a tank, and I'd have to suicide at the beginning of the match just so I can kind of scroll between all the various people who are still alive. And so that was kind of finicky and wasn't a very cool experience for people, but now we're starting to get there with our functionality where esports is becoming an actual genuine reality or a possibility. So yeah, mainly on console right now, and we'll see how that develops. My end goal is we start partnering up with our PC guys more and more, and the next time we do a Season 3 finals in Vegas, maybe just because I want to go to Vegas, but, we're kind of a part of it. We're there, we're just hanging out with them, and we're doing the undercard event, to the main PC event. So I don't think that we're that far off, actually. We just have a little bit of work to do before we get there.
Well, that's a bit of a mouthful, dude. Awesome. So Wargaming is definitely supporting the console bunch of gamers, which is pretty good, actually. Nice of them to do that. Thank you very much. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, esports on console is one of the big pushes for us as a company this year, actually. And that direct is going to come down from my boss's boss's boss. You know, I think it's a global strategy. They really want to embrace the new console version of the game. I think the PlayStation version of the game opens us up to a lot of other territories. Where Xbox is traditionally more of an American, but PlayStation's got a huge European appeal and everything. So I think globally we all really want to kind of embrace this competitive play on console, and so I think that's going to be a big focus for us this year. So I'm kind of in some ways it's pretty exciting because I'm kind of the one that's doing that right now, given that I am the head of the community team for console, and so it's kind of cool that I'm in some ways kind of heading up that charge. So it's a pretty fun task, honestly.
Very good to hear. Very good to hear.
Yeah, I can totally hear you being like or not a codcaster, but a caster for the Taaaanks. Suicide in the beginning and then casting it all the way through.
Oh man, I don't know the game well enough. I mean, we all kind of bonded over Dust 514, which is a crazy detailed game. And funnily enough, I actually knew more about Dust than I probably know about Taaaanks. That's probably because I feel there's just so much to memorize. The game's been around for over 5 years. And so, I don't know the game well enough to be one of those guys who bring everything out. I mean, I could be like the guy who's just kind of annoying and shouts random stuff, like the co-caster maybe, but I think you need to have someone who knows what they're doing a little bit more than me, actually casting the whole thing. So luckily, I mean, one of the really cool things actually about the tournament that we have coming up is that it's run by our community. And so we have a bunch of streamers who are just our players who they did their own tournament recently, and it was awesomely successful. It did really, really well. A bunch of the esports guys were watching it. They loved it. And we basically decided to partner up with our community and help them run their own tournaments better and bigger and with better prizing and more organization and all that stuff. So I'm working really closely with our players and our own streamers that already exist to do this stuff. So I'm actually not going to be on camera, but I'm going to be kind of behind the scenes, making sure they have everything they need. We're going to feature them on our own Twitch page for a lot of the matches. We're going to be giving them some really cool kind of polished stream overlays with official branding, all that stuff. So it's going to be really cool. I want to shine the light back on the guys who have been doing this already and the guys who are good at this and enjoy casting and an audience themselves. It's about making them the rock star basically, and I get to just in the background smoking my pipe, not doing anything. That's the goal.
You're the keyboard player in the band. I see.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like I'm more like the groupist, hang out off stage.
The roadie.
Yeah. Roadie is probably a better term. Let's not go with groupie.
I mean, it's up to you, whatever you want to be called.
I'll do both. It's fine.
So how are you helping out with a prize pool type thing? Like giving these guys that win the tournament special stuff by any chance?
Yeah, so they're all getting in-game pricing right now. We have some legal issues, which are why we can't do a global tournament and prize out out-of-country pricing. It's kind of hard for us. We're working through that right now. I actually just spoke to our legal team about it this morning a little bit. I'm trying to get that cleared up so in the future we can start doing out-of-game pricing again. Out-of-game pricing for tournaments are restricted to North America, but the interesting things about console is that we're a global game. The PC guys are in a little bit of a different situation where they have a North American server, which is where your account is locked to, or your account is locked to EU or Russia or whatever, whichever territory you're in. You can kind of operate within those boundaries a little bit easier, which means that if they're running a tournament in North America, for example the tournament in Vegas tomorrow, it's a little bit easier for them to do certain things legally. If you start incorporating multiple territories, it gets really, really complicated really fast. So with console, we don't separate out your account. So when you create an account, it's like a global wargaming account, and it means that you can play on whichever server you want. So, if I'm based in the US, I'd play on US West or East. If you're in EU, you'd probably play on Europe. The issue there is that, I could play on Europe from California if I wanted to. And so we don't really separate out the accounts, which means that for us to have a global competition with outside the game is a little bit trickier, and so it's something that we're working on right now. But in the meantime, everyone's going to get, the winners are going to get in-game goods, gold, silver, tanks, that sort of stuff.
Indeed, I'm very thankful you actually have that for casual play, where I can switch servers, because I do have some European friends that play, and it's a lot better to actually be able to play on their server and not be separated out like that.
It's a little interesting, actually. I don't know the specific reasons for that. I could ask the dev team why that's the case, but I mean, it's really cool, right? It means that we have clans that are comprised of people from all over the world. So some of the clans have players from Europe and North America and Russia in them, and that's really cool to see. So.
Okay, dude, awesome. That's all good news to hear. You guys from Wargaming are actually supporting the game and the community. That's actually quite rare in an actual game developer. So do tell, where can I actually get this game?
So basically, if you're playing the console version of the game, you can get it on either Xbox 360, Xbox One, or PS4. That's super easy. Just navigate to the store in the console, whichever platform you're playing on. Really, really easy. Our website, if you want to just check out like news and stuff, is console.worldoftanks.com. All the social media channels, of course, are WOT Console, so WOT Console, which is all one word. And that's mainly me rambling on there, so you might see a lot of memes and stuff like that. As for the game, if you want the PC version of the game, it's just worldoftanks.com. That's easy. Super, super easy. So it's free to play, by the way.
Look, it's just more, it's not necessarily for myself. I've got World of Tanks and I do play it. It's more for people who come along to the podcast and hear it and actually want to give it a try so they know where to get the game from.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What I like about the game is that it's not really blocked. There's no barrier for paying that you kind of knock down. It's you can progress all the way through the game without paying anything. Well, it's not pay to win at all. Like there's nothing you can achieve by paying that you can't achieve normally in game. So that's pretty cool.
Well, that's actually pretty cool. So in World of Tanks and the gaming world, you're known as Saberwing, or to me, Chickenwing. But believe it or not, you're also known as something else, and you've actually signed to a record label, haven't you? Do tell.
Yeah, I've got tracks on multiple record labels actually. It's pretty cool. Okay, so I'll step back basically. I'll start from the beginning. So I've been producing music for a long time. Even when I was living in China and working for CCP, I was doing a little bit of it, but I wasn't really pushing it as much as I am now. And I think that's just more down to in China. I don't know, life was kind of crazy. I was exploring China maybe a little bit more, but I spent a lot of my spare time doing music, and so it's one of my biggest passions. And I produce a lot of electronic music, so I guess the genre would be either trance or progressive house or progressive trance or whatever you want to call it. So I release music on a few different labels. I have some remixes out on some pretty big labels. Armada is one of them, which is run by Armin van Buuren, who's like pretty big name. He was voted like #1 DJ in the world for several years, stuff like that. So pretty cool. And just recently, actually yesterday, in fact, he played one of my new remixes on his radio show, which was pretty awesome. So that show gets heard by like 20 million people or something worldwide. So it's pretty cool whenever something like that happens.
So you signed with the Russians then, did you?
He's Dutch actually, and that track's
right. Well, again, Bamm ruins PC for everybody.
Nice.
Honestly, I thought the Armada and Silk music were actually from Russia. Believe it or not, that's what I always thought.
Well, Silk, the label where I release or have released most of my music in the past, they started off in Moscow, but now I think there's like a group of 4 or 5 guys who run the label, and they're scattered all over. One of the guys who runs it, Jacob, is a good friend of mine. He's down in LA. There's another guy called Eliran who's based in Israel. Max, I think, is in Russia. I'm trying to think. I don't remember where the other 2 guys are at, but basically they're scattered all over the world. Armada is very much a Dutch record label. Armin's one of the biggest names, I guess, out there in terms of electronic music, or has been a legend in that style of music. So to get played by him on his radio show is a pretty awesome and humbling experience. And Above and Beyond, who are based in the UK, I used to work for their label, and I've been played on their radio show a few times. That's pretty rad. I'm just going to keep going with it, keep producing music, and it's my passion. Like I said, I spend a lot of spare time on it. So.
Yeah, it's like a regular Kanye West. Like, didn't he start making music because he was making video games at one point, and then he was like,
"Is that true? I don't know if Kanye ever made video games, but I will take it."
I was just reading a little article. He was talking about trying to make some video game, and it had dicks and vaginas in it. I don't know, and
that doesn't surprise me at all with Kanye.
And he was making the music for it, and he just branched out from there, or something along that line.
Is that really true? I don't know. That sounds like a pretty crazy story. I mean, maybe it's true. I don't know.
It's a Kanye story, so it's definitely
it is a Kanye
true.
story. That's true. That's true, I guess, yeah.
Okay, tell me the background of this one. I need to hear this one. I've never heard this story before. Do tell.
Oh, that was pretty much the story. He was working on some kind of video game back a long time ago, and the premise was like, I think he said it was something like Mario for some reason, and you were a jumping dick or something.
Well, that sounds like a total Kanye story, honestly.
It still made me laugh, so I'm going with it.
That's Kanye West, man. Guy, was he like $50 or $60 million in debt?
Well, that was the fashion thing, I think. But I'm dealing with the music. Are you like, that's one of the things I really dig to do on the PS4? Actually, is listen to Spotify in the background. Like, are you guys gonna like throw together a track list on Spotify or something I can listen to while I play?
Well, wow, that'd be pretty cool. A World of Tanks track. Never thought of that. Thanks for the heads up, though. That's actually a really cool idea. I'll just like feature the hell out of my own music, like shamelessly, actually.
I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah, I would totally do that. I've never thought of doing that. Does the Spotify app link straight through to the PS4? 'Cause
Yeah, you can listen to it in the background.
that's really cool, actually. Huh. I'll put a note down to look at that next week. That's actually a really cool idea. Thanks for that, man. If you see a Spotify playlist with tons of high music, you're gonna know that was your doing, and I'm using it to shamelessly promote myself. So that's a good idea, though.
Yeah, I was actually looking on Reddit a while back, and there's a subreddit asking, like, people make playlists for different games, and I was seeing if they would make a playlist. And I don't think it's a very populated subreddit, so there wasn't really too much going on. So, like, if World of Tanks actually put one out, that'd be freaking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what other music I put on there. That's really cool. Maybe I could just do like a recurring Spotify playlist, which is just like music selected by me. That's actually a really funny cross-promotion idea. I never thought of doing that. Shamelessly promote my musical self via World of Tanks. I like it.
Right, well, World of Tanks, Spotify, playlist, awesome, brilliant. Speaking about Spotify, Saber, dude, please tell me, where can I find your music? Where do I go? What do I do? Which channels do I have to go to on YouTube to actually listen to this awesomeness?
That's pretty easy, thankfully. You can find it at the same URL, I guess, or not the same URL, the same, I guess, as my Twitter handle, which is Eskai Music. So it's ESKAIMUSIC, the word music. It's pretty easy. Pretty easy to find. So you go to twitter.com/EskaiMusic, that's me, or soundcloud.com/EskaiMusic. I upload most of the stuff that's publicly available on there. I have a bunch of stuff that's kind of hidden away right now because it's signed or whatever, but not close to being released yet, so the labels don't want it out and available for public consumption, sadly. But if you go on there, there's like at least 6 or 7 tracks on there that are sort of coming out very soon. And I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/EskaiMusic as well. All the likes I can get, man. So spam me with likes. And yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. There's going to be more music, I'm sure, very soon. So I'll keep you guys updated if you're interested in that stuff.
No, dude, it's always awesome hearing how you get along. You're a good, firm friend from Dust514, and you will always be one. So do tell me, I got a question for you. Do you actually play in the local nightclubs? Live, perhaps?
Oh, actually I have. A couple times here. I played at a club in San Francisco called Ruby Sky, which sounds like a porn star name, but it's actually like a club that brings through like pretty large DJs on a regular basis. Pretty cool club, and I've opened for some artists here. I've started working recently very closely with an artist called Mine and Shane 54. They're a pretty big like trance music, electronic music duo, and I'm working for them, doing some social media stuff for them, helping them out with a record label, etc. And they're playing in the Bay Area I'm trying to think when exactly. It's like in a month and a half, in April sometime, and I'll be opening for them anyway. So cool, I'm excited for that. You know, I do DJ a little bit, but so far my focus has been more on producing and just trying to get better at production, because it's a hard skill set to master, man. It's not easy, actually. And I've spent a lot of time on that stuff, so yeah.
All right, so we heard that they were doing the tournament right now, right, in Las Vegas. Is there anything else that the World of Tanks team goes around and does? I think you do like a fest or something along that lines, right?
They have a Humvee.
Oh yeah, we do have a Humvee. That is true. Well, it's a Hummer, not a Humvee. It's a Hummer H2. This thing is like a monster, and it drives around to most of our West Coast like events that we go to. So I guess normally it would be E3 or something like that, or if we have any player gatherings and stuff on the West Coast, it goes to it. It very, very recently went to, I think, where was the last? We went to Comic-Con, I believe. Places like that, anyway. So it's in Vegas right now, obviously, with the tournament. As for other stuff that we have going on, World of Tanks is obviously like the product that Wargaming is probably most well known for, but obviously we have World of Warships is a pretty big focus for right now. But I guess I wanted to just briefly touch on a game that went into early access today, as of the recording of this. That's Master of Orion, which is a totally different type of game than what Wargaming is known for, I guess. And that's pretty cool. And that went into early access on Steam today. So if you guys are interested in like 4X games, it's like a reboot, you know, or like a revisioning, I guess, of a very old classic game. And that's pretty cool. That is finally starting to see the light of day. And it's got like the most ridiculous all-star voice cast ever. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but if you go on there, it's absurd. We have like Mark Hamill. So, you know, that's Luke Skywalker for those who are not as nerdy as me, but pretty cool. We have a lot of very, very big name A-list sort of sci-fi celebrities doing all the voices for Massive Orion. So I'm pretty stoked.
No, I was actually going to ask you about this project Orion, because Wargaming is actually very well known for its World of Tanks, World of Warships, and so on. But it's also just released this, as you just said, Orion on Steam, and I wanted to know more about it. You just told me all about it, so it's great, awesome.
It's a very different type of game. Obviously, it's a 4X game. It's like the old sort of classic turn-based strategy sort of thing. And, people who I think are into 4X games or have been traditionally, this was one of the games that kind of started it all. It was like a legendary game back in the day. And so I think the story goes that Victor, who is the CEO of Wargaming, just absolutely loves Master of Orion. And so when the opportunity came to actually get the rights for it, he was like, all right, we're taking this. We're going to make this happen. And so that, to my understanding, is how Wargaming acquired the rights for Master of Orion. And now we've kind of, we're remaking it, as it were. And so that's really cool. I've always been terrible at 4X games for the sole reason that I don't really have the patience for them. I'm always just like, screw it, YOLO, like send everything in, I don't really think through my actions very well. It's probably why I'm actually a really bad tanker as well, actually. But, for players who like that sort of game, it's probably one of the legendary games of its time.
It's a pity you haven't actually met Mark Hamill. I hear he's quite a nice guy.
Yeah, well, he had a really hard job in the new Star Wars film. Sorry, spoiler alert. Maybe stop that if you want to cut that part out. But he didn't have very much to do in the new Star Wars film.
No, I'm not. No. Spoilers are allowed. Spoilers are allowed. You should have seen the Star Wars film by now. It's been out for a few months. Go away and spoil it.
True. Yeah, I think he was just kind of hung out on a cliff and got paid I don't know how many millions just to do that and not say a word. So, pretty cool life.
It is kind of weird. A guy doing voice acting now doesn't actually do any voice stuff in the film.
That's true. I actually think from what I remember, didn't he do he did the Joker and a lot of other seminal voices over the years, right? He's been very, very prolific as a voice actor, actually.
Yeah, it was once he started gaining weight, he started relying on his voice a lot more, it seemed.
Yeah, I think he did a pretty killer job, though. So, pretty cool anyway. Like I said, really, really awesome to see him in Master of Orion. And I'm trying to remember the name exactly. Actor, which, it eludes me, which is so silly. But he was Freddy Krueger anyway. Pretty cool. I forget his name. God, that's frustrating. There's a whole YouTube video, which is actually really cool. You can see a lot of the voice actors in the voice booth recording, and then they kind of superimpose or they cut to scene of the voice acting in game, and you get to see then you hear the voice on top of the animation or whatever. It's really, really rad. Anyway, so check it out if you're interested. Go to the Master of Orion YouTube or the Wargaming YouTube channel. I think it's on there, and it's just a whole video we have on voice acting in Master of Orion, and it's actually really cool. And the other guy you see on it, who's the PR specialist, his name is Alex Brewer in the video. He used to work on Dust with me. So that's how I actually moved to Wargaming, was through Alex, he was the PR manager for Dust 514, actually. So we worked together before.
Right, Sabers, dude. Last question. You know what it is. I know what it is. The beer and bacon question. What bacon do you like? How do you like it served? And what beer do you want to accompany it?
Okay. I'm trying to think if my opinion on this has changed over the years. I'm trying to remember what I said before, too. I think when I was in CCP, I think what I said was I'd like a bacon on a burger, and I think I said I like a Corona because it's a barbecue style beer. I think that's what I said back then.
This is true?
Yeah, well, if you remember that, then holy crap. I think if I had to say now, the beer that I'm actually really enjoying at the moment is a beer local to the Bay Area, which I think it's a big brewery here, and I think they have in other places, but it's from the Bay Area. It is Lagunitas, and it's called Little Something. Really good beer anyway. So that's my beer choice. The bacon to go with it. I don't know. I live in America now, so maybe I should be changing my accent. Not my accent, sorry, my choice. My accent too. Be playing up the British accent for sure. That would work wonders on ladies. I don't know what bacon to go for. It's a tough question. Since I'm in San Francisco, I should go for something really ridiculous. I should go for gluten-free vegan bacon. I don't know. I don't think that exists.
It probably
I'm
does
pretty
exist,
sure it does exist.
Sadly.
In San Francisco, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Gluten-free vegan bacon. That's my answer. Even though it's actually something I would probably never eat, but there you go.
Well, there's someone I know who will actually enjoy that answer. Our fellow organizer with regards to this podcast is a vegetarian / vegan / everything else under the bloody sun. So I'm pretty sure he'd appreciate that answer.
Who the hell is that?
It's Grit Breather, dude.
He just lost some points.
Of course he did. He's a vegetarian. Awesome, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. This was a Bamm's Radar podcast. We have had an awesome chat with Wargaming Saberwing. Dude, thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure, man. Always a pleasure to be here. Sorry it's taking me a little bit of time to get back to you, but I'm glad we made it happen, You're one of the first podcasts I think I ever went on, so I'm happy to be here.
Started at the bottom, and this was Jolly Roger.
Started at the bottom, still at the bottom.
Trying la, la.